Okay, 2 hours later, and it's still not done, but it's much closer to how it's going to end up. I really just have the section down here in the middle to figure out, and I actually think I have figured it out, but I'm done for the night. I'll come in and mess with it more tomorrow. So that's not done, but you can see I got 90% of this part of the track done. So it starts here, the same as before. That's your starting line. And you're going to go this direction. And I had straights here because I've still got more straights left, which is sick considering how many straights are on this track. But it just, to me, it was a little boring with just straights coming down off of that hairpin connecting to the R2 turn down there. And then I also had straights here coming off of this car. So you see where that's disconnected because I just maybe 5 minutes ago changed to put the curves in there just to give it a little something, you know what I mean? Just like up, down, up, down, up, down. They're very long radius curves, those the 22.5 degree curves. So, you know, putting them like that, it's almost straight, but not quite. And it just, once again, adds some character, whatever, just some variety, something different, some detail to the track there. And then once again, I just took off the straight that was here all the way down, and I'm going to hook up these curves. Come down here and run into this 90 degree to get onto this board. And I was trying to do the curve inside a curve, like I talked about in the other video. But with the borders, there really isn't room. You see, it's up against this track physically and on that side. And then if I move that track all the way over against the wall, I can't put a border there. So, and even here, I wouldn't be able to put a border here. It'd be hanging off the track. That's the end of the board right there. So that has to go. I have to change that and turn it around. What I'm thinking is come straight down there, and instead of this turn into this one. You see where it's narrower. Come back up and hook into this one over here. Come around here. Kind of like this, hook in. So from there, do the straight onto this curve. Move, you big husky. This video is going to be like 4 hours long. Yeah, like that. Okay. So then, instead of coming out here like it does now, it would come out here, and that will let me go down, come around underneath onto this one. Well, because it's come in reverse. It comes off the bank turn, comes into the hairpins, comes down here, turns around. Then instead of just connecting, which is an option. Yeah, no, I think I'll do that. I'll keep it simple, which will give me a little bit more over here, rather than try to do a bunch of turns. And even though I bought a bridge and already had a bridge, instead of using elevation down here, I might just keep it simple and connect there, right back up to here. At least for tomorrow, you know, so I won't worry about connecting this part here. I'll just connect it here in a very simple oval up to that piece and up to there, just to test the track, make sure the cars go around it. But anyhow, it starts there. That's how this whole thing started, showing you the flow. Comes down here, makes the 90 degree turn. And for right now, I'm just going to say, I'm going to go straight. Put a couple of straights there. Literally 2 hours I've been at this. It takes a long time when you don't use a track design or layout thing. All right, so there's another straight. We'll make it work. I've got half straights, I got quarter straights, everything I need. So it comes in here, makes the 90, goes halfway down. I will change this later and put a different turn or more turns or something in, like a figure eight, whatever. I'll do something else here, but for now, I'll connect this up. It will go around, change lanes, or just the one underneath it, doesn't matter. Come up there, join there. You see where I've got the little quarter track to extend it out. So that pushes that back. But once again, borders. I have to be careful with the border and the guardrail I put on there. Come into the hairpin, go into the bank, and I really need a straight into the bank. I might have to rethink that, break this up, but as of now, it will come out of the hairpin into the bank. Because I was, when I designed this, I was thinking the track was going to flow that way, and so you bring all that speed into the bank curve. Maybe I'll switch them and put the hairpins down there. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But as of right now, the hairpin goes into the bank, the infamous bank curve I've been talking about for a month, down that same straight. I told you that was going to stay. But the difference now, instead of the one wide curve at the end taking up the 4-foot board, I've got 2 hairpins. So now to add to that big long straight we just came down, you hairpin and come back down all the way. I know there's a lot of track there in the middle, it's distracting, but I have no other place to store it, all the way down into this turn here. I believe that's an R2 radius turn. There you go. So much tighter than the original turn. I got 3 turns that were tighter than the original turn that was down at the end of the board. So come out of there, and once again, this is where I had it going straight, just connecting to the second hairpin, and I decided to just add some more challenge, some more technical driving ability to it by adding these curves in a series of left, right, left, right, left, right, and then tying into, these are just, once again, storing cars, you can see the track is connected. That all works, that all connects up into the hairpin. Yeah, I got some painting to do tomorrow. I got a lot of work to do. And then back down to where we started. So, yeah, once again, for tomorrow, I'll just keep it simple and hook up how I have the track now. A simple little turnaround. That's all that bottom board will do. It's 4 foot by 5 foot, but when I try to do funky stuff like the curve inside the curve, there's not enough room. There's really not enough room to do a whole lot here, which is why I'm thinking using the elevated bridge. I have 2 now, and I might use that down here somewhere instead of the ramps, or in conjunction with the ramps. I'll play with it, I'll mess around, I'll figure it out. Because obviously, once I put in that short turn, I've got that turn, this turn, all these straights, I have all those curves, and still all those straights, even with the 2 long straights back to back and another relatively long straight down to there, I still got a ton of track. So track is not the issue for sure. Just figuring out, and once again, space considerations. I needed to run straight here because the border takes up this is actually hanging off the board a little bit. It's right on the edge of the board. So the borders make it take up a lot of track. That's one of the reasons that I chose to do scale electrics instead of Carrera, because Carrera is wider. You can run 124 cars on Carrera, so they take up even more space than scale electric does. But scale electrics with the borders, I mean, it's, yeah, and we put an entire interior border on that one. Hoo-wee. So yeah, still got lots of borders and barriers left, but once again, I haven't put it all on this track. There's all these curves will have borders and barriers, so I got plenty. Should be fine. And yeah, I'll hook up tomorrow. I'll do the cheat code and hook up a simple little turnaround there, because this is the main, obviously, the part of the track, and I want to see how they run all the way down that straight around the hairpin and then back down the new straight. Finally got to use up a lot, not all, but a lot of that straight track I had. We're getting there. And the Porsche, there it is sitting there waiting for the goo gun, and the Vette is over in the workbench. Tomorrow's another day, kiddies. I'm tired. It took me 2 hours to put that shit together just where it's at, you know, and it's not even done. But yeah, I'll do something with that too. The reason I wanted to come here with the straight, other than the barrier, is when I had this on a curve going up the ramp, it gave me problems. It was one of the trouble spots, using a curve here on the ramp. So I want to use a straight if I can. This is still, well, but that's shorter though. It's a shorter piece. We'll see. We'll see if I have a problem with the ramp being there. Maybe I'll come out of there and use that sucker there. Come here, tough guy. Yeah, that's too high. Yeah, that's too high. The elevation is too high. I'd have to cut down those plastic tubes. Well, like I said, I'll mess with it. I'll figure out how to get her going. But that's the basic flow. Like I said, it's 90% done. Just have to hook up these last few pieces of track to make it work, and then I can test it. Definitely going to put it on 30 volts and 10 amps. And then, you know, long term, I'm thinking about putting a shelf or something down here to hold the power supply and the outlet strip. Get them off the table, because they're taking up valuable real estate. Where I used to keep them both, it's track now, because I'm using basically every inch of that 4 feet, as you can see. Like I said, this one is actually going off the board a little bit, and it's up against this track, and that track is up against that track. So, and when you look at the corners, I have to put borders around that bank curve, and down there, you see I have the straight transition, and I will put borders around here. So it needs that space for a border. I'm basically right up against the edge. I can't move this in anymore. I gotta leave that little strip for the borders, for the curves. But yeah, that's it. She's a beauty, huh? That's gonna be fun as hell. I'm glad I put the curves in, because it just makes it more interesting. Like I said, it's gonna be more fun to take those curves, and I might even add more. I might not have as long a straight here. I can replace 1 or 2 of the straights here, and have it S curve all the way up into the hairpin. Yeah, I'm tired. All right, that's it. Just wanted to show you my progress. We're getting close to the final. Once again, is anything ever really final? But we're getting closer to the final design that I'll run and start clocking my laps and all that stuff. All right, it's a long ass video. I'm gonna cut it off here. Okay, it's the next day. About last night, right, where I was messing with the track, and I got some progress made. First thing I did was fix the windshield on the Vette. So now that's normal again. That was a really quick fix, really easy, looking sharp, good looking car. And surprisingly, I didn't need to dig out the Guggen. I was able to clean up the Porsche. Remember, I paid $15 for this car because of the, quote, sticky residue. And I literally just took a baby wipe that I used to clean the track to clean it off before I used the Guggen, and it came off. A little elbow grease, a little rubbing, and the car came clean. So I have myself a nice little Porsche for $15 because somebody was too lazy to clean. So that's awesome. And after I took a little rest last night, because I'm an old man, I can't be, working for 3 hours straight, so I worked for 2 hours straight. I went ahead and finished the track up. So connected all the curves, put the barriers and borders on for where I had them. And then nice long straight. Once again, I had to run the straight. You can see it's actually up on this barrier here. Border, I'm sorry. They call the fences, they call barriers, and the little track pieces that you can slide out into, they call borders. So this piece of track is just hanging off the edge of the board here and hanging on that border there. Probably I'll take the Dremel and cut that border a little bit past the fence. So yeah, all that's on now. I put the border and barrier on the bank curve. Hey, you don't have any on the hairpin, or here on the hairpin, or more importantly, there on the hairpin. Yeah, apparently when I ordered 50 borders or wherever it was, I pretty much used them all up now. These are not the right radius for these turns. These are the super wide turn, the 22.5 degrees that I used to have down at the end there that went, 4 foot across the whole track. So I need more borders, and crucially, I need borders for the hairpins. 1, 2, 3, and 4 when you add the half and the half. So I'm gonna get back on the website today, Action Racing, and say, please, do you have hairpin borders? Because all the borders I bought were for what they call RAD 2, radius 2 turns. So all those are covered. Could probably use a couple of more lead-ins, straight lead-ins. I ran out of those. I used all the ones I had. I had about 6, and they're all on the track, but there's still a few straights that could use them. Over there, yeah, in the middle I could use one, so I can use a couple more lead-ins. But the good news anyway, as I said, is I got my energy app. I ate my spinach, drank my Monster Energy drink, which I don't drink that crap, but whatever, you know what I mean. And came back to the track and hooked everything up last night. There's my old-fashioned bridge classic track, the pre-sport. I think they started doing sport in the 2000s, or maybe earlier, maybe the 80s. But whenever they switched over to sport track, which connects with the 2 tabs, it replaced the classic track, which connected with 2 circles. So I did do what I was thinking about last night because I was tired. So I just made a very simple turnaround in this middle. Obviously, you see that piece there. I tested it, and it will go straight and it's level. So instead of the ramps, ultimately I might wind up using those 2 flyover bridges, crossover bridges, because when they're down here flat, they're actually the perfect level to go up. So this will change. This is not permanent, but once again, it's since I bought the 2 sets, it's been use what you have. And I had this 45-degree turn, and I had the inner and outer barriers and borders for it. So I went ahead and just connected it up so that the 2 pieces of track would meet. That's its sole function. And I had to get funky and use 2 quarter sections here because it was just a hair off. You see, I have a half down there, and the quarter is actually. I thought this was interesting, so I want to show you guys. Somewhere over here, I should have a half still. Always got more track, right? There it is. So here, I'll get a half of a Scalectrix track, and I'll show you. It's actually larger than 2 quarters. You would think 2 quarters would be a half, but it's not, you see? You see how it goes across? You see the seam? That's a little bit longer. Right, just a little bit, and that was the exact amount I needed to be. So that was a aha moment for me, figuring out that the 2 quarters were smaller than a half. You would think a quarter plus a quarter equals a half, but it doesn't. So now you know. And yeah, I just have those extra curves stacked up so that when I was testing the track last night, it didn't skid off the end onto the floor. But here, you know, obviously I still need borders. I have left over, but they're not the right radius. That's my bad. I'm not sure he had radius 1 borders at the time I ordered, and frankly I wasn't thinking about it. But you know, I will definitely get that on order. I don't want to wait a month to use the track, so I'll figure something out. But anyway, she's all connected up. I'm going to call it Kong Raceway, like King Kong, because it's so frigging big. If you come down here, and yes, I still have track left. Yeah, when Jeff sent me that box, I had no idea how much track he was giving me, but obviously it's like 4 sets worth, because I've got 3 sets worth easily on here now. And I still have track left. But yeah, when you from down here, I'm back as far as I can get. Yeah, with the 2 hairpins. I mean, that's Kong Raceway. That is absolutely Kong Raceway. This is huge. I took some cars out for a spin last night. Similar problems to what I had before. I've got to, anytime I go from this table up to that table where I have the 2 bridges right now, I have to gun it. If I don't give it 3/4 to full power, it won't make it up that hill. And then, you know, I come down there screaming with all that speed. That's still obviously the fastest part of the track. And they wipe out. They even with the track to keep them from falling off the board, they spin out, they slide out, they de-slot because they just get so much speed going up down those straights. Some of the slower cars, you know, as usual, the usual suspects, the Camaro and the Mustang both made it around after, you know, I had to push them again with the little clicker thing, the grabber. That's why it's over there, because they needed assistance in some spots. Once again, with this thing, 30 volts is too much. 30 volts, 10 amps is too much. 20 volts wouldn't move a stock car, interestingly enough, because the stock power supply is 16 volt. But it's so big that even right here at the power base, the 20 volts will not move a stock car. So I'll try 25, I'll try, 7 amps, 8 amps, 5 amps. I'll try different settings with that power supply until I find the sweet spot where the heavy amp cars will move, but it doesn't overpower the stock cars and make them fly off the track constantly. So once again, not perfect. It really does take up a lot of room once you add the borders. The borders, stick out and make the track really wide. So I had a few issues with that. That's pressed up right against the wall. That border is sticking into the wall. There's zero room there on that bank curve. Looks cool as hell though. I mean, I'm happy. I'm very happy with the layout, but. And then here you see, I'm going to actually have to shorten take out one of the straights or take out a half a straight. Here's the power base. I can't take that out, but I'm going to have to take out a little bit of track here, because when I do get the borders in for this, they will be hanging off the edge here. So I definitely need to move this in a little bit, but we're getting there. We are definitely getting there. I did run the Porsche and the Corvette last night, and same thing, they get around the track with some assistance. They wipe out if I go too fast. Once again, I have to get that power supply down, but progress. We're moving forward, which is the key. I love the layout. But like I said, I will do more here. I will use this space more efficiently. But last night it was about 11 p.m. I had already spent a couple hours messing around with that part, getting the 2 long straightaways, which I'm staying. I like those. I'm keeping those. The turn, the S's. I'm very happy with this part of the layout, so that's most likely going to stay. I just need to figure out the transition coming onto this board. Maybe make it closer to the edge here, you know, and that will probably stay, even though the hairpins are definitely challenging for the cars to get through. But we'll figure out what to do. It might come down and then curve in and then they'll loop around, like I said, like a figure 8. I'm not sure what the final layout over here looks like, but that's pretty much set in stone. I'm happy with all the components of that part of the track. And yeah, I put the Dunlop bridge over there for now, but you know, it doesn't really make any sense because people wouldn't walk in between the 2 tracks or over. There's no like destination. Probably is going to wind up where I had it over here, coming down the hill like it was, you know, before. And once again, that will change. I will have a different setup. It's not going to stay with just this one little curve corner. So that's it. Kong Raceways. They run, they get around the track, but barely. And again, I keep going back to my 2 favorites because I'm a nut job. I keep putting these 2 cars on the track, and it's like, you know, one of these days they're going to go over to the side like the Nighthawk did the other day, and it's not going to land bottom up on this tires. It will land on the spoiler and the mirror, and they'll be cracked and broken and never the same, and I'll cry myself to sleep that night. So just got to be patient and wait until I get borders around the hairpins. I thought I had ordered them. I didn't. I got all Rad 2. I need a few Rad 4, Rad 1. I'll order them. I'll definitely get that done today. Hopefully it won't take a month to get here again. Be a smaller order. Hopefully ships out quicker. Well, that's it. It is complete now. And yeah, this will change like a lot of tracks change, but at least I got the circuit now.